Hello and welcome. My name is Max and today we are playing Factorio Space Age. And what are we going to do today? Well, we are going to showcase what we have done ever since the last episode off camera. I've done a few things that I want to show you. And then we're going to go and check out the main bus initiation, if you will. So, first of all, look at this huge train. What is this? Well, this is a Pax train. Pax is usually how they name the stations that the player uses for itself. So I just call this Max Pax, something like that. And I parked it, I put the station right next to the production hub so I can come back, replenish whatever I want and go back and build stuff. The purpose of this train, the main purpose is to have everything, all the building blocks of different factory sections or base sections or outposts. And so what I did from the previous episode, if you've not seen it, I really encourage you to go take a look because then this video makes even more sense. I've expanded to the north and I built a wall. So you remember we cleared out these biters in the previous episodes because we are going to tap into these ore patches. And tapping into ore patches means more pollution. And when you make pollutions, biters become unhappy and they keep attacking you and it's not fun. So what have I done? I made a wall. Let's look at the wall. It's the dense version, by the way, and it is one of the blueprints that I created based on the Maxium RoboCell. So what is the Maxium RoboCell? It's the basic cell that we designed. It's a RoboCell that covers all the base and has absolute reference point. But in order to create this wall, we need a lot of wall sections, turrets, piping. And it's going to be exhausting to go around with the tank and put these things down. So what I did is that I turned the default RoboCell, which is this, into this one, which is a defense RoboCell. Same thing with a line of defense on top. The reference points are going to be a little bit different, so it can be copied next to each other more easily. And the advantage here is that it has the RoboPort built into it. So what we can do is to put down a few storage chests, preferably. And there's a reason I've not used provider chests, because provider chests are like, let's say they are read-only. You cannot put things into them. So when they go and build stuff, if they have to pick up a tree or a rock, the robot will just go out of circulation because it doesn't know where to put it. Whereas if you use the storage chest, they can just come back like so and put the junk over there and take another thing and go back. And I provided them with everything, all the building blocks that they need to create these walls. I provided a bit more than they need. As you can see, some items are still here. And the reason for that is because biters can attack us. And when they do, sometimes they ruin something, they destroy something. So now the robots over here, these robots can go ahead, repair things or replace things if needs be. The gates are there. And finally, in order to fuel all these flamethrowers, we need oil. Now, I do not want to use a local ore patch or oil well, if you will, which would be super easy to do this and just connect it to the wall. But the problem with that is once this well runs out, then this wall is no longer protected. And we want to design the factory, the architecture of the factory, in such a way that we do everything once, preferably. Well, in the beginning of the game, it's not going to be like that. It's going to be more throwaway designs, reworks, stuff like that. But as we progress, we can make our architecture and designs a bit more final. Now, designs, no. They're still going to be throwaway designs. Why? Especially in Space Age. So what is the difference between the architecture and the design, and why our designs, especially in Factorio Space Age, are going to be throwaway and temporary even until the end of the game? Because let's go here and take a look. So in the vanilla Factorio, you had assembly 1, 2, and 3. a bunch of other machines, and that was it. What you could do in the end game is to bump up your assembly machines to assembly machine number 3 and also use a bunch of beacons, change your design a little bit, come up with a final design, and that would be it. However, also in terms of the belts, Express Transport Belt was the maximum belt you could have, nothing more. Now we have the green belt, which kind of makes this the odd one, both in terms of speed and ratio. Why? Let me do a bit of a tangent here. So this is 15, 30, 45, and 60 items per second. This is the only odd one in this collection. Why is that? Well, this is 15 items per second. Red belt doubles that, and green belt doubles the red belt. Well, this one is like 1.5 speed, and I really don't like that because it messes up all the ratios. I would much rather wait until I have the green belt and know that that is the maximum throughput for belts and design around that, and also the assembly machine or other machines, than to just create yet another belt tier, which is not easy to build because remember, we need lubricant, which is a lot of hassle for something very temporary. So I'd much rather wait for this, which has similar requirements, except, well, we need tungsten plate, but we can wait. Red belts are good enough to accommodate us until then. Anyway, back to the main topic. Why most of the designs are throwaway designs and not final? Because after assembly machine 3 and beacons and the belts, we have to go to another planet and unlock green belts. Good. Well, that is not the only reason. We'll come up across different machines like electromagnetic plant and this one, foundry, and the cryogenic plant. And these plants radically change how you produce items in the game. They have their specialties, their weaknesses, and so we are not going to produce everything with assembly machine tier 3 anymore. And that makes us rethink all our designs. Therefore, interestingly, let's say, this game has a lot of replayability because you can always come up with a slightly different design, which still works, which is awesome, which may even give you more items. Therefore, we are in no rush to take care of those details. What we can do almost permanently is our architecture. How do we want to connect elements, modules, segments of our factory in a way that is more permanent, that can work for a long time, regardless of how we design and implement details of it. Okay, so this wall here, it's probably going to be here for a while. It's not something that we're going to remove in the next few episodes. Therefore, it has to be something that we can put down and forget about, both in terms of placement, repair, supply, and everything. That's why there are no turrets here because, well, let's face it, turrets need constant supply, and if something goes wrong with the supply, then yeah, that's a loop. That's an open loop. Oil is another open loop, but fortunately, it's an easy one. We just extract it and send it here. And that's why we have this train station. This is a requester for oil. It requests a few trains. It always has buffer more than 200,000 liters of oil, and it pumps it into this section, which will be divided into two parts. One part goes south of the wall, another part goes up and to the west of the wall. So if you look at this, we even have oil here. All of these are powered up, full of oil and ready to shoot. And our laser turrets also draw from the electricity that is inside our whole base, which right now it's clean energy. It is, let's take a look at the, it's manageable. It's nothing, it's insignificant, but this is going to change. It's going to become a lot more red once we tap into the these resources and start the main bus. But that being said, robots here are totally disconnected from our base. Why? Our robots are slow. They suck, honestly, at this point. And we do not want them to come back and forth across the map, because then when we want to build something here, The robots should come all the way from here, and it's just a nightmare. We won't do that. So we have localized our logistic networks, or bot logistic networks, with the RoboCell, the Maxium RoboCell. And as you can see, each segment of the wall has its own network, in addition to the chests that support that network in terms of items. And yes, we put things here manually because chances are we don't need to do this often. It can be automated as well. That is another thing. But for now, we are good. For now, we're not interested to make a glorious permanent architecture or a permanent design for this section. We just want it to work. And it does. And the way I did that was to put down the blueprint, put the items here, put down a few robots. How many? 300 for this network. Over there, and just leave. And they did everything. We are tapping into oil wells in different sections. It has a huge reservoir of oil, so it can supply trains one after another. Here's another wall. Why? Because I love these ore patches. They are big, they are juicy, they have a lot of items in them. But they're fairly close to biters, so we do need to block this off. And yes, they are no match for these weapons over here.